On a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous are you about being on this podcast?
I'm gonna give it like a 2, because like I'm kind of chilling, because you know, I know that you're not gonna ask me anything scary, so.
You don't know.
Dance Journey!
With Tracy in LA. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Dance Journey. Today we have special guest Jess Keene.
Hi.
Jess and I met kind of recently, actually.
Yeah,
like probably a month ago or something.
Yeah, it's been about a month because you came to my Unbound class, right?
Yeah.
That's where we met?
Yeah. I feel like it's been longer because we've been taking I've been taking your class. We've taken classes together.
Yeah, and
we've chatted.
like I knew of you and I'd seen you before, but I hadn't actually like interacted with you.
That is funny. I love how she's
Yeah.
like, I knew of you.
Well,
Yeah,
because
that makes
of,
me feel famous.
Sarah's episode.
Yeah.
Like I saw that and I was like, I feel like I've seen that girl in class before.
That's so
kind of
funny.
thing. Yeah.
Well, what's funny is, LA Unbound, before they have their auditions, they do like a week or 2 or 2 weeks of like pretty cheap classes that you can take from different people that are usually the people that are going to do pieces for the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I took Jess's class not knowing anything. I didn't know anything about you or your style or anything.
Cool.
I was just trying. I was like, oh, cheap classes. I'm going to take these.
Yeah,
And
$10 classes are like unheard of in LA.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
I forgot that there was only $10.
Yeah, it was
that
$10.
was awesome.
And the proceeds went to the Eaton Fire Relief funds.
so that was
So
great
we love
too.
a good cause.
Yeah. So it was awesome. And yeah, I was not expecting your combo to be as hard as it was because I didn't know anything about you. And I was like, oh, dang, there's some floor work in here. I should have known when you did your warm up, there was a lot of like, I don't remember if it was a lot of push-ups or it was like a harder warm up than I've done recently. And so I was like, oh, her warm up's kind of intense. And then I was like, oh, her choreo is like a little crazy, but I liked it. I remember being
good.
a little
I'm
like,
glad I didn't like scare you away.
oh, obviously not. But no, I really, really liked it. And I didn't have it like perfect by the end, but I just really, really enjoyed it.
I didn't have it perfect by the end either. I don't think I've ever done a single one of my combos perfectly, honestly.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I feel like it looks perfect to me, but I get what you're saying.
Thank you.
But yeah, so afterwards, I think I was just like, oh, thanks for class. Like, that was awesome. I loved your combo or something. And then Jess was like, oh, I think I've seen... didn't you do, or you were like, aren't you friends with Sarah Chan? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I saw your podcast or something. And I was like, oh. I always get excited when people like that I don't know are like, oh, I saw your
famous,
podcast.
guys.
I don't know if those of you that don't know, I was off social media for 10 years. So I've only been on social media for like a year and a half.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a crazy story that I'll get into one day. But yeah, so it's really funny. So I just have like, you know, I've just been building these things like the past year. And so it's like exciting when someone's like, I've seen your podcast. I'm like, oh my gosh. So that was cool. So then we were kind of chatting because of that. And then I think we just ended up chatting on Instagram. And then you end up telling me that you had a class on Monday nights because I like loved your choreography style.
So kind.
I really do. And so that was, and her class is like not expensive either. And so that was really cool. And so I got to know Jess and then also Yari, who's part of LA Unbound, because they switch off Monday nights teaching their contemporary classes. And oh my gosh, I know it's only been a month. I feel like it's been longer, but I have grown a lot from those classes.
You really have. Well, the thing is, you'll just go for it. Like, even if it's something you've never seen before in your life and you're like, are you speaking a different language right now? You will just throw your body into it. And I respect you so much for that. And the class we took just now, you just went for it. And I was telling you earlier, the first time I took a class like that, I was so tragic. Like, I almost kind of wish there was a video of it just so I could look back and laugh a little bit. But also, I don't know if I need to see that.
I know. I like to have videos of like my first time trying things just to remember, even if I know it's going to be like sort of a disaster, but well, so to get into that, what was cool is like, so Jess takes a lot of like Sam Nelson class and I
love a Sam Nelson Monday and Friday.
Yeah. Oh wait, he does Monday too? Oh, that's right. Wait, I knew that and I forgot. But so like I've watched Sarah Chan take a lot of Sam Nelson classes. I always see her videos and she does like an excellent job and I've always like loved watching them. And But I'm always like, okay, one day in like 3 years, maybe I'll try
You
Sam's
did it!
class. And Jess, and then when I met Jess, I saw that that's one of the ways, or the main way you know Sarah is through Sam's classes, right?
Kind of.
Okay,
Yeah,
or part.
we saw each other for the first time in Sam's class, but then she did my piece for Unbound.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Last spring.
Okay.
And I saw her at the audition, and I was like, I know this girl from somewhere. And the longer I watched her, I probably looked like such a creep, honestly, because I was like, number 55 looks real familiar. That actually was her number, and I don't know why I remember that.
That's funny.
Because I was like, green shirt. Actually, she was wearing that green shirt today. She loves that green shirt. It's a good shirt.
I hope she appreciates how much we're talking about her.
I do too. She'll probably think it's funny. But I saw her, and it, like the light bulb clicked, and then I put her in my piece, and then we were kind of like, wait, like we take Sam's class together a lot, and then the next time we were both in Sam's class, it was like, oh my god,
That's cool.
The rest is history.
Yeah. Okay. So I realized you took Sam Nelson's class. Then I started watching your videos, and I was like, dang, Jess kills it in Sam's class too. But I was still like, okay, like one day. I think Jess was like, you should come sometime, and I was like, yeah, like. I was excited because I feel like Jess's is like a medium version of Sam's class. So I was like, no, I'm really excited about your class because it's like, that's what I need is something that's like a stepping stone, you know? But since I've been taking your class and Yari's too, like I wouldn't say it might seem like I throw myself into things, but I am very cautious about like injuries and stuff.
I could see that. You're never unsafe about it.
Yeah, I start like in a mini version, and then I'm like, okay, maybe I can do it a little bit stronger the next time or a little bit higher, but like it takes me like a little bit, but I think you and Yari give really good space for like, okay, try this, or here's modifications if you want it. So yeah, really have loved that. And then I guess I just ended up asking you if you wanted to be on the podcast because you were already talking about the podcast. So speaking of the podcast,
and I was like, yeah,
do you want to be
let's
on
go.
it? And so then we were trying to figure out like a class we were going to do together, and this girl has a crazy schedule, which I'm sure she'll talk about soon. But in the back of my head, I was like, I should probably just take Sam Nelson with her because I know you love that class so much, so it would be fun to like talk about it.
My free hours are basically between like 12 and 4. Pretty much every day, which there's not a ton going on at that time because I work one job in the morning, one in the evening, and then I have that like little gap in between. And originally I was like, I should pick something that's like new for both of us. So I was like trying to like look for some jazz funk or something, which, you know, I'm trying to get more into it, trying to do more commercial stuff because I don't want to get like too comfy just in one style.
Yeah.
But this is just what ended up working out for us. And I'm really happy that you liked it.
Well, I don't think Jess thought that I was going to take it anytime soon. But I was like, we should just do it for your podcast episode.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we took Sam Nelson today. And it was really fun because Sarah also she can't always come because of work. But she was like, I'm going to try to make it.
Yes.
So Sarah was there. Scarlett was also there, who I just had on the podcast. So it was really fun to like have my friends in class
and
while
then
I was trying
the three
it
of us
out.
were in a group together for the whole class.
He just went around and did like 1, 2, 3 to the whole class, and somehow me, Sarah, and Jess were in the same group, and I think there was like one other person in our group, but we
actually no, I think it was just
was
three
it just
of
us? Oh, maybe it was just someone marking it on the side. Yeah, that's crazy. So the three of us. I
don't
really
know
wanted to
how
get a video, but like I was like, oh, I don't know if we take videos at this point in the class.
I don't know how it ended up that way because group 1 usually has the most people because like the way it works out.
Person.
Maybe there was. And
They might have
were
been
just
standing
off to
more
the
on the side.
Which doesn't really make sense because that combo travels so much. You can't be standing near the side.
I think they were
like started like clear across the room.
The right. I think they were standing on the side of the left or the right. I'm saying the wrong thing, but like they were standing on that side.
They were standing somewhere.
But anyways, I was like, oh my gosh, the three of us in our group and my first time taking Sam Nelson class, that's so cool. And I really wanted a video, but I didn't know how anything worked in the class yet. And so I was like telling Sarah, I was like, we gotta get a video. But then Sarah was like, oh, and then it was like too late. So we never got a video of the three of us. But
it's okay. We can do it again sometime.
So yeah, in the beginning, I was like, I've been having trouble lately with remembering sequences, which I think I used to be better, but I used to take like class all the time. I mean, it seems like I still do, but I actually don't take nearly as many classes as I used to. And so I think remembering choreography and just the order of it is a little bit more challenging right now because I'm not taking as many classes. So at first I was like, it wasn't like his moves were that crazy. I was just like, oh, I'm not remembering the order and he does actually do counts, which is cool, but I haven't been doing counts in classes a lot lately, so I also was like, oh, counts. They weren't even hard counts. I just haven't been doing counts a lot. So at first I was a little stressed, but then he did such a good job teaching. Like, he went over it a lot, and he also, I really like when teachers do this. Another teacher that does this is Kyle Hanagami. I've taken his master class
Yes, I've
before.
taken his, but wait, were we in this? When did you take his class?
I've taken him twice. Twice, I think I've taken him.
Okay, I've only taken him once.
I took him at Movement Lifestyle once for a master class.
I
and
just
then
took him here.
I did take him here. No, actually, never. I took him 3 times. I think I
Okay.
took him at Movement Lifestyle, Millennium, and also T Millie one time.
What was the song for the Millennium combo?
Literally, if you say it, I'll remember.
Was
but
it Mantra? It's like a newer song.
No.
Okay,
He
never
did an
mind. It wasn't
older
the same
song.
one. Okay, that would have been so funny.
That would.
Because we did discover we were in
Oh, yeah.
Angel's class together like
Angel
a year
Strip
ago or
Mater.
something.
I don't know if I'm saying her last name right, but
Yeah.
yeah, we realized we both took, and we remembered the same class that we were in, which is
Yeah.
crazy. And I love Angel as well. And Angel was also on the podcast. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So at first I was kind of stressed, but then, this is what I was going to say about what he does and also what Kyle does and some teachers do. I love when they're like, okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to like work that out, because that's so helpful for me, because
Same.
I need to use my own brain. Like, it's great when the teacher goes over it and over it,
Mm-hmm.
but if I'm just looking at them, I'm not like really using my own brain. you
Right.
know?
No, I feel the same way.
So-
And sometimes you just need an extra minute with like a move or something.
a certain move.
Then, but also sometimes I get stressed in a busier class because I'll be trying to do something and then I'll like almost kick someone and I'll be like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, if
But some people will
everyone's-
just go for it and like knock you in the side of the head and will not apologize. And that's okay. That's so fine. I'm okay with that. But like if I ever did that, I would never stop apologizing.
Oh my gosh. Actually, talk about Kyle's classes. I was always kicking people in the face because they were so packed. That was really difficult. But
No, his classes are always like sold
that's
out.
the only thing I don't like. He's a great teacher, but it's hard when it's so packed. But he does a good job of managing it, but it's still kind of crazy. But anyway, so yeah, I really loved how he went over things a lot of times. He also does a really good job, and I love this about certain teachers, is when they can really see what you need help on. They're not just like saying what they always say or just doing their routine. Like, they're also really watching you and really
Yeah.
like, oh, I can see this is the part they're struggling with, so they kind of do that part
Exactly.
again, or they like explain it more
Yeah,
again.
or like sometimes he'll come up to you and be like, "Oh, it's this," and you'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that makes so
That's
much sense."
helpful.
Yeah.
So, and it also was not. Now, was that around the amount of people that are usually there, or was that
That
smaller
was
than
very
normal?
small.
Okay, it felt small.
It was small.
I kind of liked it though because I could see really well.
I like a small class every once in a while. I feel like normally there's 4 groups.
Okay.
Normally there's enough for 4 groups. I want to say there's probably usually like at least 10 more people there.
Okay.
Than that.
There was probably like, how many would you say? Like 15, 20? I'm not very good with.
Yeah, something like
It
that.
wasn't like a
I
tiny
never
class,
count.
It was just like there was definitely a lot of space. You could see really well, so it was nice. Yeah. So I actually, by the end of it, I felt like the beginning, for some reason, I was struggling with those movements. But even though they weren't anything crazy, I was just struggling with it. But by the time we did it enough times, by the end, I was like, okay, I don't know that I'm doing them amazing, but I at least like have the concept of them. So I felt really good about it. A ton of people did solos, so like usual. Now I know how it works because I'm like, man, Jess and Sarah always get like solo, like you always get solo videos. But yeah, they do a lot of solos, and I got to watch Jess and Sarah in person kill it, which was awesome.
You're so sweet. You were killing it.
I did better than I expected, so I was happy about that. But
Yeah.
then I knew, I was like, if he was calling out certain people that are of course like awesome and go a lot, but I was thinking, oh, if he gives an opportunity to anyone else at the end. That's the only thing is like once enough groups go without me going, I tend to like forget the combo a little bit. So it's like I want to watch people, but then I'm also like, oh, remember the combo, Tracy, in case you get to go.
Yeah.
So I did get to go at the end. And then I didn't want to be in the front, but I was like,
you were in
"Here
the
I
front,
am.
as
Here I
you
am."
should be. I will say that when the class is bigger, especially if it's like a really big class, which I think like when Danielle was able to come with
Mm-hmm.
us recently, it was a big class because it was a holiday. So people who are usually like
that's why
in
she was
school or
there.
at work, there are a lot of people there. Those days, it's more like trios and a couple of duos, and today was just like very heavy on solos because it was so small.
Okay, that makes sense. But you guys get solo videos a lot, but he probably calls you guys out a lot. Not to brag on you, but he probably does.
A lot of times I'll do like a trio moment, sometimes a duo, and then I'm kind of like an every once in a while solo kind of person. Sarah's a solo girly. Like, she kills it every single time.
Yeah.
And I love watching that girl.
Yeah.
Like, it's an honor to film her from the front, honestly.
Oh my gosh. Well, I used to take ballet with Sarah, and oh my gosh, the teacher often would have her like do stuff at the end, and I just loved watching her. Or I loved getting in her group to dance beside her, because I love dancing next to people that are really good, because it helps me. It just pushes me up a level, because it helps me to kind of really see how they're doing it. And then especially when I watch the video later, it's cool because I'm really able. It's not a comparison game. It's just like I'm able to see like, oh, that's kind of how they're doing the move. Just because I haven't been studying dance as long as a lot of people, and so it's helpful for me to see like, oh, that's more exactly how it's kind of supposed to look. Not that I want to be exactly like them, but just like to learn the technique better and learn the moves better. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, I do look like them there, and then I'm like excited about it.
It's like, yes.
Yeah, it's like I love dancing with Jess, love dancing with Sarah. So that was like a total dream to like just get to be in your guys' group my first time. That was fun. And then I haven't watched the video yet, but we'll see what. I know I forgot it a little because I just got nervous, and also like I just hadn't gone for like 7 groups, so I just forgot a little.
Oh, that happens to me too. Like there was one day where it was like a really big class, and I was like, okay, I'm probably like not gonna get to go like in a small group this day, and I was kind of just like vibing watching other people, and sometimes I forget I have to dance because I just get so into watching everyone else in this class. And there were some incredible people. Like, I think it was a day where like Briar Nole was there, if you know who that is. She was on World of Dance. Like, she's incredible. And then like a lot of people had gone already, and I was like, okay, like if there's like a chance for random people to go at the end, I'm gonna go. And they was like, all right, Jess, let's go. And I was like, oh. I was like, wait. Huh?
I know, that's the hard part about class, especially in LA when you're dancing with so many good dancers. Like, I want to relax and just watch them.
I just get so excited.
I want to, like, at Athletic Garage, they used to sometimes, like, have everyone sit in the front, like, at the mirror, and just, like, literally just watch, like, an audience, and it was so enjoyable.
Times.
Really?
Not super often, but there have been 1 or 2 classes where he's been like, oh, let's sit at the front and, like, really watch each other.
It's really fun to do that, but it's also a little bit like, if I still have to dance, I need to kind of, like, be marking it a little or something, but, so anyway, that was so fun. I really am like, now I can't get a day job because I have to keep coming to this class. I gotta figure something out.
Have like 12 to 3 marked off on my availability on Mondays and Fridays, like since I moved here specifically, because I took my first class with him before I lived here, and like I said, I was tragic, but I was like, if I move here, I'm gonna get better at this class. And so I was like, okay, well, any job that I get, I'm not working from 12 to 3 on Mondays and Fridays.
Awesome.
So
I know, that's what I've felt like in like praying about my life and reflecting on things. I'm like, I really feel like I am supposed to be here to like dance and do the podcast and do my writing and all these creative things. So like the other jobs, like the jobs that pay me money, like at this point in my life, I'm like, they have to go around it, because this is what I'm here for.
No, for real. That's why I work at 4:45 in the morning.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this. But I still have something else. Well, I still have something else to say about Sam Nelson class. If you are scared about it, I feel that in person, it wasn't as scary as I have thought it was from watching videos on Instagram. And something that Sarah and Jess were telling me was like, some people who are really good will just kind of like take it up a notch. Some of the moves, they'll do them a little bit crazier than they actually were choreographed. I don't know if today's dance was a little less crazy than normal, but there wasn't anything like super crazy. I would say the hardest thing was like that one, like that move that you sort of did
like
before. But it was like this. How do you describe that move?
Like, I called it's a Sam Nelson special. Like, it's...
You kind of flip. It's kind of like a jump into this, like, sort of... You kind of look like you're in a little bit of a backbend type of situation. But then what was hard about it was you went straight from that into this, like...
Okay, that was hard. I was like, I'm gonna fall on my butt, which I actually did in rehearsal last night, but that's another story.
When he was describing it, it was so funny because he showed us, like, the bend type move first, and we were just practicing it, and we were ending on that. And then when he showed us the next section, it was all of a sudden shunny turns, and I was like, well, wait, where was the transition from we're on the floor in this back bend thing to like the shunny turns?
You just gotta.
Oh, there's not really a transition. It was just you
literally just have to like muscle yourself up out of this like Grand Plie second with your butt practically on the floor into a
into standing shunny. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Fighting for my life every single time.
And then there's like a cabriole like a couple steps later or something. So, and he kept telling us to jump really high, which I wanted to try to do, but I'm like, I'm not even over there in time because I can't get up into the shunny turn.
No, like so my technique went out the window for that. Like I was like, I just got to yeet myself into the air and hope for the best.
When I saw how hard that was for everybody, it made me feel better because I'm like, that was pretty tricky, but I was just glad that there weren't any moves that were like super risky to me. It wasn't like, oh, weren't trying to do like aerials or something. So anyway, I absolutely loved it. I would highly recommend that class if you're free during the day, Mondays and Fridays. Sam Nelson. That I could see myself growing a lot from that, and also it was so fun with just like the motion he like gets you to have or helps you to have, because I really want to get better at like
so many times I've come up to him and I've been like, who hurt you? Like,
how do you have all this amazing motion?
Who hurt this poor boy?
So yeah, I can really see why everybody liked it. Oh, and I was telling Scarlett afterwards, who we've been taking Scarlett's like session classes, and her combos are so long that I think it actually, and she has a lot of tricky, like floor work. And so I actually think that coming to Sam's, I think it's good. I took a bunch of Scarlett's first because I was like, oh, this combo's not as long, and actually there's like not as many like flips and stuff in it. So
I think I would have never thought are harder for me personally because she's very leggy and has a lot of hip flexibility.
True.
Which I've got some amazing 90-degree turnout. Like it's not good.
You're pretty good. Mine is really
No, my hip flexors are just so not flexible, and like I've always struggled with that. Like even when I was a kid doing ballet, like I've never been able to do a middle split or anything like that. But I always made up for it in back flexibility. So here we are.
There you go. I mean, I feel like I'm sure you've worked at it forever, but it seems like you have pretty decent flexibility. I'm like,
fake it till you make it.
Yeah, my hip flexors are so tight, and I haven't been dancing my whole life, so they're more flexible than they used to be, but they're still like, I mean, I used to do like a fan kick or whatever, and it was like a 45-degree.
It's like the one now like hunching over.
Yeah, literally. Like if I go back to like old videos of like my first year dancing, I'm like, oh wow, that's very low, but I could not get it higher than that. Now it's like a little higher, so I'm growing, but it's very slow. But anyway, so super fun class. So yeah, we talked about that forever because that was just so fun, and I'm glad we took it.
It was really fun, and I do credit that class with most of my growth since I've moved here, honestly.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I was going to ask you, okay, I know we're going to talk about your current life in a second, but, like, do you want to talk about your Sam Nelson journey since we're still on that topic? So, you had seen his stuff before you moved to LA.
Yeah, I visited someone here back in, actually, it's been about 2 years. It's been almost exactly 2 years since I took my first Sam Nelson class. How cute. But I just had like 2 days where I could come take class here. And so I was like, oh, contemporary, that's fun. So I jumped in.
Had you seen anything of his before that?
I don't think I had. Okay. And at this point, I grew up doing pretty much all ballet and like some tap, jazz, some modern stuff, but I hadn't really done like contemporary or lyrical. I didn't grow up doing competitions. But in Tampa, where I lived, after not dancing for like 4 years, I just like hopped into an adult contemporary class.
In Florida?
Yeah, in Florida. So prior to taking Sam's class, I'd maybe been taking contemporary for like 6 months. And after doing a style for 6 months, going to a Sam Nelson dance class is quite a jump. I tried my best. It was a little bit of a tragedy. I hope to God he doesn't remember. But I was leaving that day and I was like, I would love to get better at that. Mm-hmm. Like, I really want to like grow in that style. And actually the combo that we learned there, I took it back with me and I like practiced it,
nice.
Back in Florida. And then I moved here. That was February. I moved here in August of 2023. And then I hopped back into his class regularly that September, I think. And then that's pretty much where I did the majority of my training, and I just came really consistently. And at some point, I don't know when it happened, but I started like getting to do like smaller groups more, and I started like getting to do a solo every once in a while. And at first it was really funny because he'd be like, okay, you, and he didn't know my name yet. He'd point at me and I'd always look behind me to make sure he wasn't
like,
talking.
how embarrassing if you're like, I feel like that might have happened to me before, like if you're like, he is not talking to me.
And like every single time I'd be like, and he'd be like,
that was totally me. If a teacher picks me, I'm like, is it really me? I don't want to. Like...
And I did that for a while before I finally realized that he was in fact talking about me most of the time.
Learned your name as well.
Yeah, but he's so sweet. Like if you post one of his combos on your story or something, he always like responds. He's like, "You're so good. You did so good today," and I'm like, "Thank you." But. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then, of course, I've taken some other classes here and there, but I've taken his the most consistently and regularly.
Yeah. That's so cool. Because I started taking gymnastics a little for like the past. So recently I kind of stopped, but I was actually getting a good deal to get privates with this girl, and I was working on handstand. I was going to the gymnastics group classes, but it's funny that you're like, you throw yourself into stuff, because actually I had a lot of fear at those gymnastics classes, and we would stand in lines, and they were good classes, but everyone would do these things, and I would watch people come and progress very quickly. Like they'd start out scared, but then they'd try it and they'd do it and they'd get better. And I was taking it for like a year, and I still was like, oh, I don't want to do a handspring without the like, I forget what it's called, but there's like a big like round thing that you do it over.
Oh, the barrel? I think they just call them barrels.
Something like that.
I don't know.
But yeah, I always wanted that there, even though I'd done it for so long. And so eventually they had this like special running for privates. And so one of the girls that works there, she's awesome. Rachel, actually, she was also on the podcast. I was like, I want to do the private with you like during this month that it's like special deal or whatever. And, yeah, so I started doing privates with her. We ended up doing privates like for a long time actually, and it was really great to work with her because she really gave me like really nice challenges that like she knew how afraid I was, so she would start with these like miniature versions, and she kind of taught me how to do that, like start with a lesser version and like, you know, work your way. And I didn't progress to what I would have liked to since I can go back if I want to, but I kind of don't have it in my regular schedule right now. And so it's cool though that I'm now going to these classes. All of a sudden I feel like God's opened the door to like all these more acrobatic-y type contemporary classes, and now I'm like kind of applying stuff that I did there.
It makes so much sense that you'd taken some gymnastics classes now, because I was like, this girl will just like really throw herself into some of these kind of like tricky type moves.
Yeah, like more than I used to, but I have grown in that way.
That sounds so fun. Do you still take the gymnastics classes?
Well, it's funny because I messaged her not that long ago and was like, we need to figure this out again.
I want to go.
We should go sometime. It's fun.
Adult gymnastics sounds great.
Oh, it is great. It is great, and they have a ton of classes actually.
I did a little when I was a kid, but I stopped when I was like 10, so I never really learned how to do anything past a cartwheel.
Oh, me too. So. I did it when I was like in first and second grade, and then I switched schools, and they didn't have gymnastics there, so I didn't keep going. But I actually really liked it. And my brother stayed in gymnastics. I don't remember how he stayed in gymnastics, but he is really good, and he can just do gymnastics everywhere. So I feel like it's like in my genes, but I didn't like stick with it. So and I have a lot more my brother's very like risk is totally fine for him. I'm like getting better at risk in my life, but I like right now I'm pretty risky in my life right now.
No,
but
honestly being an adult kind of sucks, because I remember being a kid and like not being scared of things. Like I would get up on a balance beam in a gymnastics class and just like run across it.
Wow.
And my old dance studio growing up was actually in like a big sports center that also had like gymnastics, cheerleading, karate, all this stuff. It was a very small dance program, but it was great. And sometimes the like bigger rooms with like the mats and stuff would be free at the end of the night, because these dance classes went like well into the night. So like for jazz or something, sometimes our teacher would be like, oh, I want to try X, Y, or Z. Let's go in here so we're not on like a hard floor. And then sometimes we'd be like, oh, I want to try something over here, like on the equipment.
That's so
and
cool.
I remember being like a teenager, like 16, 17, and like getting up on the balance beam and being like, oh my gosh, like why am I scared and shaky right now? Whereas I knew when I was a little kid I would have just like been doing cartwheels or something on it.
You're also like shorter as a little kid, and
That's
maybe you
true.
have less to fall or like.
I was a very small kid.
I was too. Well, it's probably not like surprising.
Yeah, I didn't hit 5 feet tall till I was like 15.
How tall are you now?
Like 5'5".
Okay, because I am 5'1".
I just took a minute to actually grow.
Yeah,
Took a minute.
yeah. Okay. Okay, so we just talked about so many things already, but
We did.
Jess, now tell us. You have a crazy life right now. I could tell. Let me talk about it. Actually.
Okay.
I'm just gonna talk.
She already
the whole
knows
time.
about it.
Well, Jess, I'm gonna let her tell you the details, but I mean, she does a lot with LA Unbound, which again is how I met her, and now I'm finally doing that for the first time. And
It's the only reason I have friends in LA, actually.
I know I was gonna ask you about that because it is a really great way to meet community, and we'll talk about that more as well. But yeah, so she does LA Unbound. She does a lot of dance classes. She teaches a dance class. She works a lot. So tell us, like, how does your week like work? How do you survive, and what does it look like? Hi everyone. So I wanted to tell you about my new book, The Tracy in LA Newsletters 2010. This is my very first memoir. There will be more. It's not like a normal memoir where you're looking back on your life and reflecting on it and writing a book about it. It's more like a memoir in real time. So basically, when I very first moved to LA to pursue acting, which was in 2009, I decided I was going to write these like monthly newsletters where I sent out actual letters in the actual mail to a bunch of my friends every month to give them updates on what I was doing with acting and jobs and friendships and all kinds of things that I was going through my very first time ever living in LA. It ended up being pretty humorous, and so I've basically gone back and edited them so that I could publish them as a book. So that's what this is, and yeah, if you want to be entertained and have a good laugh, buy my book, or if you just want to help me pay my rent next month. Oh, and you can get it on Amazon. The Tracy in LA Newsletters 2010 by Tracy Nicole. Nicole is my middle name. Also, there's a link in my Instagram bio. You can get it paperback or on Kindle.
So I'll just go through like an example day. So let's take Monday, for example, which is one of my crazier days of the week. They're all a little crazy, but it's fine. So Monday morning, I go into work at 4:45 a.m. I have a dog, so we're out walking at like 4:30. Luckily, I live pretty close to that job.
Okay.
So then I work at Orange Theory Fitness, and I'm there from 4:45 until about noon on Mondays, and then I like run home, walk my dog real quick, and then I head over to Sam's class from 12:30 to 2, and then I have a little break from 2 to like 4-ish, and then I'm headed over to work at Barry's from either 4:30 or 5, depending on the week. Sometimes
Is
it
Barry's
changes.
a restaurant?
No, it's another fitness
Oh,
place,
Barry's
actually.
Fitness. Actually, I knew that, but I couldn't. I
I'm
didn't
just out
remember.
here working at gyms, collecting free workout classes like Pokemon.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, we love to see it. It
Are
really,
you like a trainer, or what do you do?
No, I do desk and just like
Oh, okay.
back of house
more
stuff
admin
sometimes.
and, like,
yeah,
that type
sometimes
of
I
stuff.
get to make protein shakes, and that's kind of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, and sometimes my dinner is just like protein shake samples from Barry's because, you know, where is the time to have a meal?
Yeah, and when I was thinking about how crazy your schedule was before, I forgot that you had a dog too.
Yeah, and
That's hard,
I
too.
do have a really amazing friend. Her name is also Jessie. She works at a coffee shop that's like right down the street from my apartment. So on days where I'm gonna be gone for longer than like 6 hours at a time, generally I can like shoot her a text and be like, hey, can I have a walk
that's
today?
nice.
And I just pay her for like a nice little 30-minute walk a couple times a week. So it's a good system.
Wow.
She's awesome. And originally, like, when I got Bella, my dog, I was living with another person. So there were 2 of us.
Oh, okay.
But then they ended up moving to San
Okay.
Diego. So it's like, now it's kind of all just me. But I make it work. And luckily, most things that I do are close enough to where I can like run home. And I hate that it sounds like I don't spend that much time with her. I promise I do. Because like when I do have my breaks, I'm pretty much just like playing with her the whole time. So like on Mondays from like 2:30 until like 4:15, like I'm just with the dog. Like we're doing a long walk. We're maybe going to go to the dog park, play a little bit kind of thing. And then I go to work, and then after that, I come back home for a little bit, take her out again, make sure she has her dinner, make sure she's good to go. And then, depending on the alternating Monday, I either teach my class from 9 to 10:30, or I take Yari's from 9 to 10:30, and yeah. And then I go home, and I sleep.
I'm glad that you sleep. I wasn't sure if you
A
did.
little bit. Some nights it's not great. Sometimes it's like 3 or 4 hours, but it's fine.
No, that sounds like me when I was in college, because there was a period of time. Well, I stayed at my college in the summer, and I worked at Starbucks, and I worked at Barnes and Noble Cafe. So I would get up in the morning and do my shift at one of them. Then I'd have an hour break or something. Actually, really not a long break. And then I would drive to the other one and work in the evening because I just really needed the money. But that was. I didn't do that for too many months because that was a lot. So thinking about the fact that your evening job ends by, well, 8. It doesn't end too late.
It ends at 8, so it's not bad. It's a very short shift. It was kind of just like something I picked up to get like a little extra money because my morning job, they cut hours a little bit kind of unexpectedly. So I'm still full time there, but instead of being like 38 to 40 hours, it's more like 32, maybe 33, which doesn't sound like a big difference, but
no, it is.
It adds up over the course of the month. And then I was like, okay, well, I need something else to like make this work. And you can't just have a job for like 8 hours a week. Like no one's gonna hire you for 8 hours a week. So it's more like 16 to 20 there. But then like that's on top of the like 32, 33. So I am gonna go a little more part-time at Orange Theory to like kind of give myself a little more of a break because I am quickly realizing that my body is way more tired than I would like it to be, and I'm just like not able to give my 100% to everything, which I really would like to.
Yeah.
So
I mean, because tell the audience how many LA Unbound. So LA Unbound, I feel like I have talked up LA Unbound on this podcast like 100 times, even though I haven't even done it till this year. So everyone should know what it is by now. But it's like an adult. Why don't you explain what it is? Because you've done it longer than me.
Yeah. So this will be my 4th season, I guess, with LA Unbound. They do 2 shows a year. I started in fall of 2023. And basically, it's an opportunity for both amateur and professional dancers, whoever just wants a platform to either create a piece or perform in a piece to get to do that. So twice a year, they hold auditions. Each choreographer shows a little bit of the piece that they're going to be creating, and then dancers have the opportunity to audition to be in that piece. The goal is for everyone to get cast in at least one, and you can do up to 6.
Yeah, so just how many pieces? I figure with your very busy life, you probably can't be in too many pieces. So how many pieces are you in?
6. And then I have my own.
Well, Jess like broke the rules by.
I didn't break
She didn't break the rules. She bent the rules by being in 6 pieces, which is the limit, and then also she choreographed her own piece that she's not.
That's allowed.
I know, but
that's allowed.
Literally, like I would have been surprised if she could even fit 1 or 2 into her crazy schedule, but she is doing 6 plus her own piece that she choreographed. And she still takes other classes. No, I'm like, girl,
I knew it would happen.
It
would happen anyway because last spring I signed up to be in for 4 pieces, and then I was choreographing one. So that's like 5. I say this as if I also didn't get injured this season, but that season, because someone in my piece got injured and I didn't want to have to rework everything, so I just like put myself in that spot. And then one of my friends, Christine, someone in her piece got a concussion a little bit before the show, like 2 weeks before, and Christine was already in her own piece. So I was like, I can do it. And so I learned it in like 2 or 3 rehearsals, and I ended
Wow.
up performing in that as well. So I ended up in 6 pieces last spring as well.
Well, hopefully this year you don't end up in like 8 or 9 pieces because
Oh, and then I threw in that little tidbit about getting injured. So a little less than a year ago, I did break my foot in a Sam Nelson class, but don't let that discourage you.
we're like, don't be scared of Sam
Don't be
Nelson's
scared.
class,
I
except that Jess did break her foot.
I do have it on video. There's a screenshot. It's if you want to see it, you totally can. It wasn't the combo's fault. It was just one of those days where the mirrors are like super foggy because it's really humid and it was kind of slippery. And I was doing like a turn like into a floor thing, and I like kind of slipped a little bit, and then I like caught myself, but my foot, like my toes stayed upright and the rest of my foot was like trying to roll, so it was like a nice little, I feel like you should just like insert like a screenshot like in the video footage or something of this.
Maybe we will.
But luckily it was just like a hairline fracture. I just had to do a boot for like a month, and then
just a hairline fracture, just a boot for a month. I mean,
yeah,
that's still
so
significant.
that happened, and in the combo, I remember being in class and being like, oh my gosh, I think I just broke my foot. And then I was like, well, who knows when I'll be able to dance again, so I'm gonna just finish. So I finished the combo, and I got up and I like walked off, and I was like, actually, I think I'm okay. And I went home, I walked my dog, and then I had myself scheduled to take an Orange Theory class like back at work, so I went back and I took it.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I ran like 2 miles.
and you didn't
and
notice?
I mean, it felt weird, but it didn't like hurt. And then I was talking to my manager at the time, Elia, and we were sitting in the back, and I was like, my foot feels kind of weird, but I think it's fine. And she was like, okay, well, take care of yourself. And I was just chilling because I was supposed to run my rehearsal for Unbound. It was like the second week of the season. Pretty close by after, so I was like, I'll just hang out here and I'll head over after, kind of thing. So I was sitting there a little longer, and then I was like, oh, I should like walk around, get something to eat. And I went to get up to leave, and I was like, ow. And I was like, oh, I can't walk. But
Oh my
luckily,
gosh.
UCLA Urgent Care was directly above the Orange Theory I worked at the time, so I like hopped my way up the escalator, and they were like,
gosh.
so here's a boot. They tried to give me crutches as well, and I told them no.
Why?
Because, okay, so they were like, okay, so like you need to wear this boot for like a month. And I was like, so like if I could still walk without it and it just like kind of hurts, like, is that okay? And they were like, it's not gonna heal very well if you do that. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll take the boot. And like I was like walking around on the boot, and they were like, does it still hurt? And I was like, oh, like, is it like bad if it does? And they were like, oh, it would probably give you crutches as well if it does. And did it hurt? Yes. But I was like, no, I'm good.
Oh my gosh, you just really didn't want the crutches.
I really didn't want to deal
It
with
would be
crutches.
annoying,
It would
yeah.
be really annoying because like I already have this like unwieldy boot to drive with, which it was on my driving foot actually.
And you still drove.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have, to be completely honest with you. But then I just like texted everyone at my rehearsal because I was like, hey, don't be alarmed. I kind of injured myself a little bit, and then I showed up in a boot, and then yeah.
But you still did all the pieces that you were in.
Yeah, because
and other
that was
pieces.
in. It was like the end of March when that happened, and we started the season a little later last spring, and I was out for a month, and then I like started slowly getting back to it, and then the show wasn't until June last year. So I was good in time to do everything. But the funniest thing, my first time back in Sam's class was the same combo that I broke my foot doing.
Oh, really?
Like he just like brought it back randomly
so
like
weird.
2 months later, and I was like,
Did it like freak you out, or was it like a redemption round? Or
It was in a way a redemption round, but also I remembered being like so extra careful on that part. Like I definitely, like it was supposed to be like a one-handed thing, and I definitely put 2 hands down because I was like,
Did you tell him that?
I didn't tell him
super funny.
until fairly recently, actually.
That's funny.
Because I wanted it to be like a haha funny, like we can laugh
And
about
not
it
have
now,
him,
and
like,
I didn't
feel
want him to
bad
like
about
feel
it,
bad
yeah.
about it. And I was like, oh yeah, so like when I disappeared for like 2 months, like
You're like, it was sort of because of your combo, but
Yeah.
not really. But well, that's funny. I mean, fortunately, like I wear socks. So I wore socks today because
did you?
I just, when
I can't wear socks in that class. I would die.
Really? I mean, yeah, I would probably wear like the foot undies next time, but I test the floors at first, and if the floor felt sticky enough for my socks today, so I was like,
okay,
I think I can do it with, just because if it's a new teacher, especially with floor work and stuff, I don't know if we're going to be like sliding our feet on the floor. I don't know. And so because I'm still a little bit new to this, I'm like, let's protect my feet with a little extra. Like I was telling Jess, I wore like long sleeves, and like I tried to cover my body as much as possible, like depending like how much floor work we're going to be doing. But I was then telling Jess that actually we did less floor work than I've maybe done in Jess's and Scarlett's classes recently. So
that was pretty light on the floor work.
It wasn't that bad,
I will say. But people who wear shorts to that class without knowing what the combo is are a different breed.
Know. Oh, there are lots of people that, maybe not lots, but there's a handful of people that wear shorts for these type of combos, and I just do not know how they do it.
And I've seen them do it and like still like spin on their knees and stuff, and I'm like, how?
Oh, yeah. Actually, when I took heels with Sarah, there was a sort of a knee spin thing, and she was wearing like shorts or something. She didn't have anything on her knees. And she did this modification. Well, she called it a modification. She actually made it harder. But she did something she didn't like really hurt her knees, but it actually looked even cooler. And I was like, dang, look at her. But she also like, just came like that. And I'm like, I just wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't come like that.
I have showed up to his class wearing shorts, and sometimes it's fine, but sometimes I regret it.
Sometimes, like, I miss wearing shorts to classes because I like to not be hot. Yeah. Some dancers love being super hot in a class. Like, I don't want to be cold, but, like, I don't really want to be, like, covered completely in sweat, like, dying.
Exactly.
And so shorts are nice, but, like, lately all the classes I'm taking, there's so much floor work, and I'm like, no, protect the knees.
Yeah,
so.
We were talking about it a little earlier, and when I first started coming, I used to show up in, like, like the standard contemporary dancer uniform. Even I was, like, trying to, like, pretend that I was a contemporary dancer, which is, like, the baggy clothes, like a big T-shirt, or maybe long sleeves and, like, layers, or, you've seen people come like that, especially in, like, the more, like, wiggly, vibey classes.
Yeah.
So I used to come like that, but sometimes it just gets so hot in that room that generally these days I just wear pants and then as little as possible otherwise. So it's usually like pants and a sports bra.
Okay, but the same way that you're impressed by people that wear shorts to these classes, I'm impressed at people that just wear like sports bras and stuff, because I'm like, okay, but a lot of your skin is hitting that floor, and to me that's just like more painful. And
it's like I don't really notice it when it's my upper body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That works. Yeah, I wish I could be more airy and like not be dying, but this is how it is. So, okay. Okay. You kind of just went through Monday, but I feel like that's kind of your whole week. Oh, wait, I have a question, though. Do you have any days? You don't have any day that's completely off, right? Or do you?
So, of work, I usually get Fridays off. So, like, today's great because the only things on the roster for today were taking this class, doing this podcast, and then I have a couple of LA Unbound rehearsals tonight.
I love how that's the only thing going on in her day.
But it's
dance
so
class,
nice.
A podcast, and 2 rehearsals.
But because it's just all dance and it's something that I really like, it doesn't feel like, oh, I have to go do this.
Yeah, totally. No, I totally get it. But that is interesting that you don't really have, like, if it wasn't Unbound season, I guess maybe you would have some extra. But it seems like you probably always find like dance things to do.
Yeah.
Or performances.
If it weren't an Unbound season, actually, let's take like 2 weeks ago, Friday, for example. Actually, no, it was last weekend. What I did when I had like Friday off, I took Sam's class, and then I went and took one of my friends who works at Orange Theory, his class. Like, I did a workout class after, and then I hung out with Brittany. We went and played mini golf.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
There's a non-dance thing.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like I feel like all of us that love dance this much, it's just funny to find what things people do if they're not dancing, because like obviously you have to work. Well, some people dance as their work, or they have other work, but to find what people like outside of that, usually like dancers are like struggling to, like, even when I was asking Scarlett, it was like she was like, wait, can I pick working out, or is that still dance?
That girl does work out a lot.
She does work out a lot. But she ended up coming up with something, but it is funny to try to figure out, like, oh, what do you like outside of this? Because everyone just likes it so much, which I love. Like, I love that there's so many people here like that because it's, like, so easy to connect because I also feel like that. So it's like, yeah, why would I do now try to take a little bit more, like, a day where I don't do anything with dance or things like that. But anyway, so your schedule's crazy. You don't rest a lot. Okay, you make it work. It's fine. But let's go back because you've only been in LA for...
It's been about a year and a half.
Oh, really? Only a year and a half?
Yeah, because I moved here August of 23.
Yeah, that's crazy. I thought you were out here for a few years for some reason.
It feels like I've been out here a while, I feel like.
I mean, I've only known you for a month, so I don't know why.
Yeah.
It shouldn't feel like anything to me. But okay, so I know this episode's probably going to go over a little bit because we were just super
That's
chatty,
okay.
but
We're
that's totally fine.
vibing.
You guys can listen or keep or not.
You can
anymore.
cut stuff out if we're rambling.
If you have to go to
like...
class now, just please feel free, but we're going to keep going. So, I did joke, like, oh, you have nothing else to do. We can do the podcast for 3 hours. We're not really going to do this for 3 hours. But, okay, so, but I do want to hear about, like, yeah, so you grew up in Florida.
I did,
Where
yes.
did you grow up? Not that I would know exactly, but.
Originally around the Gainesville area, if you know what
Okay.
that is, a tiny little town called High Springs.
Okay.
I think the population's like 5,000 or something.
Okay.
It's pretty small. And then I went to college in Tampa. So I was there the last, like, 6 years before I
Okay.
moved here.
I was just going to ask if you studied dance in college.
I did not. So I grew up dancing. I started doing ballet when I was, like, 4 years old. And I did it pretty consistently until I was about 10. And then I took, I think, like 3 years off, and I actually played basketball and did cheerleading for a little bit.
Now is that why you took 3 years off? Because you were like, I want to do basketball and cheerleading now?
So I went to a very small school, and once you got to around middle school, which is when I stopped dancing, it was like almost expected that you played a sport at school.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I have to do this, and then I didn't really have time to do dance for a
Okay.
little bit. And then when I switched schools, I went back to dance, and then I did it through high school.
Also, how do you do basketball and cheerleading?
So,
same time?
I played girls basketball, and then we would change and cheer for the boys.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Because I remember middle school as well. I wasn't dancing. I mean, I did do a dance class here and there when I was a little kid, but like, I remember I had to choose between basketball or cheerleading. And I was like, well, the cheerleading, I kind of wanted to do basketball too, but I was like, well, the cheerleading auditions first. So I'll just do that first. And if I get it, I get it. If I don't get it, I'll do basketball. And so I got cheerleading. I actually hated cheerleading. I was sad that I didn't do
Really?
basketball. And a girl like dismounted me wrong off of her. I had to like do this like L shape with my legs on her like shoulders or something. And she was supposed to like go back so I could get off, but she accidentally tilted forward and I landed like on my head and sort of got like a concussion and
Oh,
like
that happened to me too. And I also broke my ankle cheerleading because I got dropped.
cheerleading is scary.
Yeah, cheerleading's scary.
I don't really what I realized is I don't really love cheering.
I always got yelled at
literally.
because, okay, so it was like the smallest school ever, and we had, like, it was a small sports program. Our basketball team, like, the girls' basketball team, we were tragic. I think we won one game the entire season, and it was because the other team was equally as tragic.
That's funny.
For cheerleading, for some reason, they treated us as if we were at like the biggest public school with like a huge sports program. And I got ripped to shreds for not being loud enough at games because I was like this tiny little thing. I was like 4'10" or something, like 11, 12 years old. And it was like, you're not loud enough. I want you to scream. You should be losing your voice by the end of this. And I
That
was
is
like,
crazy. You know what's funny? You're reminding me of this now. Like, it's all coming back to me. I remember when I was in cheerleading, they needed us to do our voices higher. I remember, like, when I first made it for the team, I just naturally had, like, a lower voice. So I'd be like, yeah, go. Like, we'd say the cheers, and I would just be like, I don't know any cheers now. But I'd be like,
Yeah.
go team, na. They were like, no, you have to be like, I can't even, like, do it now. But they'd be like, you have to be like, go team. You have to do it kind of an octave higher. And I was like, Oh, because they want, I don't know if they wanted our voices to sound more girly. So, like, they're screaming, you'd be loud. They're, like, telling me I need to, like, make my voice higher.
That's crazy.
It was just, like, a weird...
I'm, like, unlocking memories right now because, like, you know, games would be on Friday night, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it was probably 7th grade. I, like, could not speak on Saturdays, like, ever. And then what's so wild is when I broke my ankle, like, I got dropped. I was, like, 12 years old, so obviously I was crying because my ankle was broken, and I told them I was, like, something popped, like... So they didn't call my parents.
Oh, yeah. My coach didn't either when I felt my head.
They didn't call my parents, and they just had this, like, 9th grade boy, like, take me to go get ice. And, like, I was just, like, sitting, like, no incident reports were filled out. No one was called.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad came to get me, like, 2 hours later, and he saw me sitting, and he was like, what happened? And he was, like, the most non-confrontational person ever, so he didn't really say anything. But when my mom found out about this, it was crazy.
That's interesting.
So
I don't know if that
crazy.
was just like the times back then. I'm like, why did they not? Because it was same for me. They didn't take it very seriously. And the next day at school, I had this huge headache all day. And I remember just like in my classes, I couldn't, and I was like a really good student. I could not focus. I could not pay attention. And I was not feeling well. And I remember finally my English teacher was like, came up to me, she's like, Tracy, because she could like tell something's like wrong. She's like, you need to like go to the office or see if you can go home. And then, they kind of, I don't know, like, I mean, actually, later on in life, it turned out that I actually kind of hurt my spine from that. It was,
no.
That was a weird, anyway.
Yeah.
We need to talk about dance, but when you were doing cheer, were you dancing? Like in that? Like I know some teams do that.
The first year, or like you mean, was I dancing like at my studio, or was I dancing like in cheer?
In cheer. Like, did they have you do dances or
There
no?
was a little bit, and I remember this girl that was like our captain, which she was like maybe like 10th grade or something. It was a private school. It was like a K through 12 type school. That's why there's like middle schoolers and high schoolers combined. Yeah. I remember like I would get like put near the front for a lot of dances, and for some reason the girl that was the captain, she like didn't really like me, and she'd be like, we're not ballet dancing right now, because like I guess I would like be pointing my feet too much or something, and I was just this tiny little thing, and I was like, I'm sorry.
That is so funny. That's really funny. Okay, that's like bringing up all these memories for me too. But anyways, okay, so you did that for like middle school.
Yeah. Well, after I broke my ankle, like we had been having some other issues with that school, and then my mom took me out like pretty shortly after that, which funny enough, that like started my theme of like not realizing when I'm injured, because like by the time like 2 hours later when my dad came to get me, I was kind of like not like crying anymore, and I like walked on it for like 2 days before I was like, it still hurts, and like we went and got an x-ray, and they're like, yeah, this is broken.
Wow. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. So
yeah.
So you switched schools, and then you just decided to go back to dance?
Yeah. So the first year I did like the cheerleading situation. I didn't do dance at all. But then the second year I went back to just like tap and a little bit of jazz.
Okay.
So I wasn't like in like the intense like ballet program anymore. And then the next year I decided to go back to it. And my old teacher made me work for it. She made me go into the lower level and work my way back up.
She's like, you think you can just come back here? Was she like, were they kind of like bummed or mad or anything that you like stopped doing it?
I think a little bit, yeah. But I kind of like worked my way back into their good graces in the next like year or two.
Nice. And so did you feel like you got pretty good training? Like, I mean, obviously it seems like you did, but did you feel like that was a good like studio you were able to work with?
I do, especially in ballet. I do think like it was a pretty like not small city, but like the city I grew up in, there were a few different dance schools, and I think in terms of like ballet technique training, ours was one of the stronger ones. So I do think I have a really good foundation. Part of me wishes I had done more training in like, you know, contemporary or hip hop, but I mean, for the like, it was good.
Yeah, I think that's
I grew up with good ballet training, and ballet is like one of my first loves. Like I don't have the best facility for it, but it's still in here, you know?
I know. I'm new at ballet, but I've grown to love it. But I haven't. It used to be a lot more regularly in my schedule, and now it isn't right this second. But
I need to get back
love
into it.
Yeah. I never thought I would say I loved ballet. I was always like a kind of a jazz person. But love ballet, love contemporary. Okay, so then were you in high school and stuff, and were you feeling like, oh yeah, because now we're going to get to what you did in college. So yeah, were you feeling like you wanted to do something with dance, or was it just like, this is my hobby? Or
So I'll say in maybe like 10th grade, I feel like that was my year where things like really clicked with dance, like after taking a little time off. And I was doing like summer ballet intensives. Like I went to ABT, I went to Atlanta Ballet. Like I would do the thing where you like go off and train for a month in the summer. And at that point, I think I thought the only option as far as making a career out of dance was doing a ballet company. And that was something on my radar when I was in like 10th, 11th grade. But then I was at a smaller studio, like a lot of people left by the time I was getting into my senior year. So that was like a little discouraging, and as far as like wanting to be super involved in dance. And then like I had some pressure that's like, you should be a kid, you should do the high school thing. So I did back off of dance a little my senior year.
What's the high school thing? What do they want you to do instead of dance?
Just like go to football games,
okay,
like be a kid, go to prom, you know. And it's like, oh, this is kind of like your last year to do that. And I was like, okay, and then I ended up like settling, like I'm still going to dance, I'm still going to take class, I just won't do like the performing company. I go back and forth on whether that was like the best decision for me at the time, but I don't think I have any regrets about it, you know. And so I did that, and then at that point, I think I was kind of falling off of like, oh, I want to make a career out of dance, because I think I was starting to be like, oh, like, you know, like things are getting better now, but like at the time it was like, oh, you have to have a certain body for ballet, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, you know, I'm not really built for it. Like I'm probably not going to get into any companies, so I should just like make it a for fun thing now. So I kind of just like settled on making it a for fun thing. And I was thinking about minoring in dance in college, but I ended up not doing that. My second semester, I did like audition to be able to take class with the dance majors. And I did ballet for my second semester of my freshman year. And then I did it for both semesters of my sophomore year.
And you went to college in Florida?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to University of South Florida in Tampa.
Okay. And so wait, what was your major?
I double majored in criminology and psychology.
Oh. And what were you wanting to do with that? Or are you still wanting to do something with that?
So initially, I really wanted to do forensic psychology.
Okay.
But somewhere along the way, I realized that there weren't a ton of like doctoral programs for that in the U.S. My first semester of my junior year, I did an internship at the U.S. State Department in D.C.
Oh, nice.
I worked in the Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement.
Wow.
I did like public affairs stuff for them. And then coming off of that, they were like, oh, we happen to have a coordinating center at the university you go to. Do you want a job?
Oh.
And I was like, okay. So I worked in the Department of Mental Health Law and Policy at USF, and I was like a research assistant for one of the projects through state. And then through that, they took me to Peru to work on a conference, which that's a whole story. Like there's a lot of lore there. And then when I graduated, I had a job as a project manager for the International Consortium of Universities for Drug Demand Reduction, which was like one of the state things. And I did that for a couple of years. And I was going to go to law school at one point, and then I decided not to, but, you know.
Now, were you like...
I have a former life.
Wow, I know. This is interesting. So, and now were you dancing at all in the midst of all of that, or...?
Not for most of it, because when I was doing like the project management stuff, that's around pandemic era.
Okay.
So I did that through 2022, and then that's the year I also decided to start dancing again.
Okay.
And so I started taking some like drop-in classes here and there, And then I kind of had the realization that I was like hating my job and that I was happier when I was teaching some dance classes and honestly made like the same amount, if not more money.
Really?
So I quit state and I picked up some teaching positions for dance, and that's what I did until I moved here.
Wow. Okay. Also, wait, were you in high school when you visited LA? Or when did you visit LA and do the Sam Nelson? No.
Yeah, that was 23.
Oh, that was right before you moved.
Yeah, it was a few months before
I was like, wait, no,
moved
that
here.
wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
It was that long ago, but I was like confused for a second. Okay, yeah. So then was it what turned in your mind for like, oh, now I want to go to LA. Now I want to move to LA.
So starting in 2022, I was in a cross-country long-distance relationship. They lived here. I lived there.
Okay.
And like I wasn't dancing when we started dating.
Okay.
And I had come out here a few times, like I'd visited, and then at some point we started thinking about like, oh, like what if we like live together for a little bit. And I came out here and after I'd like started dancing and I was like, oh, I want to try taking class. And then like taking class and just like being around everything and like realizing like how good the training was here, that kind of made me want to like make the jump. So I had like two like different things that were kind of like pushing me to do it, and I was like, okay, now I have a reason, like that's for me and for like someone else. So because I didn't want it to be just for like someone else, I wanted like there to be something here for me too. So yeah, I am very grateful for the way things worked out in that sense.
And did you just come out here and then you're like, okay, I'm just gonna look and apply for jobs? So
yep,
you didn't
basically,
really have like
essentially. I did have a dance like teaching job before I moved here.
Oh, okay, cool.
It was in Monrovia though, and I didn't really realize like what commutes were like here.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of why it's like changed now.
Yeah. Oh, and then I do want to say like the guy that I like kind of started like training with again in Tampa. His name's Matthew. Awesome human. I really miss him, and like kind of like gave me a push as well to like start training out here because he worked as a dancer out here for a bit. He was kind of like oh, like the training's great there, like you would thrive, like da 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 kind of thing, like if I'm ever out there we should take class together. And I credit him with like kind of like pushing me like back into dance more.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
I love when you have like so many teachers have just like made such a difference in my life.
Oh yeah,
that's so cool.
No, I miss him a lot. He also like got me into jazz funk a little bit.
Nice.
Like I'm still not amazing at it, but that was my like first experience with it, and I improved so much like
that's
training
so cool.
with him. And like even my very first contemporary class back with him, like I do have a video of it from like summer of 2022. Tragic. Like I was so tragic, like after not having danced for like 4 years, like at all.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I improved a lot with him.
I wonder if it was really tragic.
No, like the difference. So I trained with him for about a year. The difference between like my first class and my last class with him, astronomical.
I mean, I'm sure, yeah, definitely.
Astronomical.
when you're training, especially with the same person, and it's so cool to like watch yourself grow. That's like part of the reason I love to take videos now. Because back when I started training in dance, we didn't take videos of anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't care. Like I wasn't even on social media, and I didn't care.
I used to not ever take videos. I had to like get used to like getting in the habit of like, oh, I should like record this.
Yeah, it was just like when I first got back into dance after the pandemic, and I was injured for actually a year, and that's a weird story, but like when I first came back, all the classes I was going to, the teachers were just like, okay, now everyone put your cameras at the front if you want, and that was not something that I did at all before the pandemic. So I was like, and during the pandemic, I trained virtually with a teacher, and he was always recording me virtually. So I got used to like seeing a lot of videos of myself during the pandemic. And then when I went back to class and every teacher was like, oh, we can take videos now if you want, I remember I would just send these videos to like some of my friends and my parents because like I wasn't on social media. And my friend's like, Tracy, how do you get videos of every single class? And I was not trying to because it wasn't even on social media.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. It's like every class I take, they're just like, now if you want a video. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I thought that's just what everybody's doing now. So it started out like that, and then I eventually got on social media. And then I realized, I actually like having this like documentation diary of like my dance growth. But it's so funny because like people that didn't know me back then, I'm like, I was not like this before. I never cared about a video. Like I just love dance and I just love growing at it. But now it's kind of cool to be able, it's really cool to be able to be like, oh, this is what I was like when I first took this person, and now like a year later, like that's what I was like. And so it's just really cool to be able to see that. But okay, so you decided when you decided to come out here, were you like, did you have a specific goal, or you're just like, I want to get better training and see what happens?
That was it. Since then, like various people have talked to me like, oh, do you want to do this professionally? And I'm still in that space where I'm kind of like, I feel like I need to train more and like kind of like get to that place. I'm not opposed to it, but
gosh, I mean, I feel like you definitely could be just like, I mean, have you auditioned for,
not really. I'm kind of like starting to look into it a little more to like see what I would need to do, because I've always been like, I just want to like really like train for a while and just like make connections, which I have done. I've met some really amazing people through dance.
How did you hear about LA Unbound to get involved with that?
I was literally like, we were on the road trip here to like move, and I was like, I want to like figure out where I can dance other than like, which at the time, these places that seemed really scary, like Millennium and T-Millie, and I was just kind of like looking for like some sort of like group or something that I could like dance with that was like a little more low pressure, low stress. And I saw that Unbound was having auditions for their show like literally like the weekend after that,
you just, like,
we were
saw it
getting here.
online.
Yeah, I just saw it online and I showed up at the auditions.
Nice. That's perfect.
Yeah, I did 3 pieces my first season.
Wow.
And that was the only reason I had friends in LA.
It's really nice making friends through LA Unbound.
Everyone's
I feel like it was
so nice and
even
welcoming.
Even with how much you guys already know each other, I feel like being a new person, there were quite a few people that just saw that I didn't know people that like talked to me, which was like so nice. 'Cause that's not always, sometimes you have these nice communities, but it can be easy to overlook someone that's newer that doesn't know
for
people.
sure.
But I feel like a lot of people I've met through LA Unbound have been really good at like reaching out and like still excited to like welcome someone newer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's like so great, and that's really cool that you found it so quickly. Definitely when I first moved to LA, like I found friends more through like church and stuff, but it definitely took like a while. And yeah, and I've made friends through just going to regular dance classes, but that took a while as well because
that took a little longer for me.
You don't just like chat with people forever at a dance class. All the time,
exactly.
You know?
Like I have met people like at Millennium too that like, because you know Scarlett now, and then I guess Sarah's like Unbound, but also Millennium, and like Shelby, and then like Sam's really sweet, and Haley, and like
you
they're
eventually do. It's just like people are really focused and there for like to get better. You're not like there to like to mingle but like
exactly.
Eventually you do just start to get to know people, and I actually kind of like that slow process. But then LA Unbound is even like a not cooler, but just like a different sort of community where people are like closer because they perform together like so much and like do all these pieces together. And I'm in Jess's piece, by the way. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, you are.
Which that's a funny story
even though
too.
she didn't want to audition for it at first. Like,
I know, we should talk about that really fast because like it meant so much to me that you like asked me because I initially like I had started taking her class, and so I initially planned to like, because at LA Unbound audition there's like 25 pieces and you put the ones you're interested in, and apparently my schedule is actually kind of crazy, and there was a lot less that I was available for than I thought, and I was planning on putting hers. But then I saw her, like, because she showed part of her piece. And I don't know, it just felt like it wasn't that I thought I totally couldn't do it. I just was like, it was kind of acrobatic. And I was like, okay, this is my first time performing dance on a stage, like, since, like, high school when I did, like, musical theater. But I'm like, I take a ton of class, but I haven't really performed. And so I'm just like, I don't know if I want my first performance piece to be something with like crazy acrobatic moves. So I was just like, okay, I'll put these other like contemporary pieces that seem like it would be a little less like hard for me. Mm-hmm. Although honestly, that's probably not even the case. But like, but I didn't even put that many because of my schedule, and then I didn't end up getting in any of the contemporary pieces, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm not going to be in a contemporary piece. So I was kind of bummed.
Dinos.
I'm going to be in a dinosaur piece, which actually it's really fun, and I am excited about that.
I love dinosaurs. Actually, I have a dinosaur tattoo. I don't know if you've noticed it before.
Wait, no. Where is it?
Wait, it's on my ribs. Can I show it? Like,
Yeah.
Like he's chilling.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Wait, no, I definitely need that. I'm surprised I didn't notice that since like you do. Like, not always wear.
I know some people like clock it like kind of late in the game, and I'm like, it's there. Like he's chilling.
That is funny.
Yeah. I want to get like a little hatched egg behind him because he's kind of like looking back.
Wait, why do you love dinosaurs?
I've always just really liked dinosaurs. I don't really have a particular reason. I just think they're fun.
That's okay. Now, when I went to my first rehearsal for my dinosaur jazz funk musical theater piece, they asked us what our favorite dinosaurs was, which I thought was hilarious because I was like, I think I don't only know one dinosaur.
Oh, I also have a dinosaur on my
favorite?
keys.
What's your do you know the different dinosaurs?
Yeah, it's a Diplodocus.
Oh wow, okay, she really knows dinosaurs. I literally was like, oh, T-Rex.
Also, I can do this kind of like funky thing where I pop out my shoulder blades, and I used to do it at dance as a kid, and they would call them my pterodactyl wings.
Is that how the dinosaur thing started?
Kind of. I think maybe.
You're like,
but also, as a kid, The Land Before Time, Littlefoot,
yes.
love.
Okay, I did watch that when I was little, but I was not like, I didn't not like it, but I wasn't like super into it. I am not super, I had to tell at the rehearsal, I had to be like, I'm actually not super into dinosaurs, and I also like, it's been a long time since I've seen Jurassic Park, but I was like, I just thought this piece looked really fun and funny. Is that okay?
Yeah. Also, I've always like really liked the Jurassic Park rides.
Oh yeah.
And stuff.
Wait.
Especially like with the like herbivores, I always love them because they're just like they have their long necks and they're like ooh. Like.
Okay. Is there a Jurassic Park ride at Disneyland?
I think it's at Universal.
Okay. I was just thinking about this the other day. I was like, wait. I could not remember if there was a Jurassic Park ride somewhere.
No, it's at is it called a Jurassic Park ride? I'm actually not sure, or if it's just like a dinosaur thing.
I meant to Google it.
I've only been to the Florida Universal. I don't know if they have it here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which I also haven't been to Disneyland. I've only been to World. I've only been to the Florida theme parks. I need to go to the California versions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pricey, but
yeah.
There was a period of time when I kept meeting people that worked for Disney, and I kept going to Disneyland for free for a while. So
Yara
that was
used to work at Disney.
Oh, nice.
Oh my gosh, we should have an Unbound Disney trip. That would be so fun.
Let's after I get some money.
Oh, yep, same.
But okay, so yes, I'm in a dinosaur piece. I am going to be a dinosaur, a raptor, I guess. And I'm going to be wearing a mask, which is going to be a challenge in itself. But anyway, so that was going to be the only piece I was going to be in because I literally only put like 5 pieces or something, which you really should put more than that if you want to be in more pieces. But I was kind of bummed about not getting a contemporary piece, but then I've been going to Jess's classes, but I was trying to just be positive about it. I'm like, you know what? I'm just glad I can I have these classes I can go to. I can work at my abilities to do these things. And then one day Jess was just like, I mean, if you want to do my piece, you can or something.
Yeah, because I think you were like, oh, I was thinking about putting your piece down, but then I wasn't sure if I could do it at auditions. And one of the trickier moves in it I had done in a combo that you did, and you literally killed it. And I was like, I just want people that are willing to go for it.
Yeah.
And you clearly do that, and you've improved so much just in the month that I've known you.
I know. So I don't mean I know, but it's just really Jess has helped me, Yari's helped me, and actually I'm so glad that you asked me because I love the way that you run your rehearsals. It's a very good way of challenging people, but also seeing where people are at so that you can kind of place people in ways that make sense. It's a very, even though her choreo could seem intimidating, the way that she presents it and teaches it is totally not intimidating. And that's what I really like about it, because it gives me a space to really go for it, because I have been in spaces in the past where there were things like that, and it wasn't a space that felt comfortable for me. So that's been really, really cool. And it's fun because everybody is like, how am I, everyone's like, how am I going to do that?
And then everyone does it.
And then everyone still does
by
it. But
the
it's
end.
like, the vibe is not like, oh, everyone's perfect and I'm over here like, I can't do anything. It's like, it's like we're all working at it. We're all trying. And what's cool about performing is like, you get all this time to practice and like get better. And so I'm excited to like, be
I
able
just
to do
like,
that.
I knew there was an element of interest there, and I just wanted to make sure that you knew that you were welcome if you wanted to do it.
I know, so that was so nice because I kind of like wanted to ask you about it, but I was like, well, I don't know. How do I know even if she would have even cast me if I put it? I don't know. So I was like, I didn't want to like assume that. And I was like, I'm fine to focus on the dinosaur piece. And like, I mean, LA Unbound does 2 shows a year. So I'm like, I'm going to audition
also,
again.
Paul
Like,
is
it's
so
fine.
fun. I worked
He's
with
so
him
fun.
for Notchmo last year, and we did like an alien situation.
That's the choreographer for the.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so the reason, like, I know about LA Unbound because I had seen like 8 of the shows. I'd been to like a bunch of them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know
my
that.
friend, and it was before your time. It was before your time. Before you were in LA.
Yeah.
My friend did like all the shows, and so I wasn't even doing dance yet, and I just loved going to see her. So I would always get people to go, and I would
so
always
fun.
go. So I knew a lot about it, but then it wasn't until later that I got into dance, and then she still dances, but she stopped doing LA Unbound because she lives on the west side, and I think she got tired of just like driving all the time. But,
Altadena is kind of far for a lot of people.
yeah, so it's like tends to be a little bit more out towards Altadena, Pasadena. But I mean, they do kind of have rehearsals everywhere, but it's more like
a lot
that
in
way.
like this area, like North Hollywood, Studio City
North
area,
Hollywood.
which is where ours is.
Yeah. So it's really fun. You should definitely try it sometime. So you're just here, you're taking class.
Here I'm
you're
taking
doing LA
class,
Unbound,
I'm working,
You're teaching,
you
you're
know.
choreographing. Oh, I do want to ask you, like, we're going to wrap it up soon, but what are your feelings as far as like choreographing and teaching versus like dancing yourself? Do you like one more than the other, or like the same, or are there things you like about each of them, like something different you like about each of them?
So I don't know if this is true for everyone, but I feel like a lot of people are like choreographers first and some people are dancers first. I consider myself more of a dancer first kind of person because it's more comfortable for me to just go to a space and learn choreography from someone else and then like just do it like that. And it does challenge me in the way that like memorizing choreography is difficult. But I feel like I wanted to get into choreographing more because it would be more of a challenge for me.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to push myself to create things for myself and kind of develop my own style.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from. And I do really enjoy it. I don't think I enjoy one more than the other, but I do think I'm more comfortable like taking class and executing choreography or like being in someone else's piece. And then as far as teaching goes, I kind of just really enjoyed that people liked my choreography, and I did have some people ask me like if I taught, and I have always kind of felt like there's a little bit of a gap in LA for people that aren't professionals but aren't brand new to dance either. We do have LA Unbound, which is great for like performing, learning choreography, but there's not really a space to like improve technique, or like a lot of times there's not really a warm up. There's not really like a progression of things. So I kind of just wanted to like try that out and also make it affordable. If I could do it for free and didn't have to rent space, I totally would, because I kind of just want to like have fun with my friends and dance together, and then like it kind of just like stretches my creative brain a little bit, and it makes me come up with stuff more frequently. Which I really like doing. That was very long-winded, but
no, that's great. That's great to hear about. Now that I'm gonna keep saying this. We're gonna wrap it up, but like, because you don't currently have like a totally big like dance stream. You're just like, I'm just exploring.
I mean, there are things that would be cool. Like if something came up where I could like, you know, be a backup dancer or something, that would be awesome. But then I feel like I need to get more into like commercial styles for something like that. Although some people are utilizing contemporary dancers
I feel
more
like
for
it's
videos
starting to
and
become
stuff.
more of a thing.
So do you know Gary You know Gary.
I mean, I know who he is.
Not the one that's in my piece. There's another Gary.
Oh, wait, I don't know.
Okay, never mind.
Okay.
And maybe we don't put this in. But, or, well, you can if you want. But he, like, sent me, like, information for an agent for, like, like a dance talent rep agent. He was like, oh, you should really reach out to her. Like, you'd be
cool.
perfect. And I'm kind of like, I don't know if I should. Like, I feel like I need to develop more first. But, yeah.
That's probably not true, though. I mean, you can go at whatever pace you want, but I do.
Yeah.
It is after, because I've interviewed so many people, it is interesting. I notice what I'm noticing is a lot of my friends who have tons and tons of training still feel like they're like not ready to like audition or perform. And then I have friends with much less training that have auditioned and booked things and they have this confidence about it. And I'm like, but if you were to put them next to each other, not to say one is like better or worse, but just like the level of training, it's
That's
like
interesting.
So I just think it you know, it's also just, it's what you want to do. So
That's
it's
true.
fine. It's fine, whatever you do. But just if you do get an opportunity, like, try not to sell yourself short, because I mean,
That's fair.
you're doing very well, and I think you definitely could like be out there auditioning if you wanted to be. But that's
true.
just a matter. It's also like not just about your talent. It's also about like
it's like getting
your
the
schedule.
photos and the like
Everything you need,
the reels and
the
everything
money
like that.
and getting the time off, and you're doing like. So there's so much more to it than just like, can you do it?
Right.
Like, I'm sure you can,
Yeah,
but it's a whole
I just need to learn
lifestyle.
how to market myself, I think.
Which is, I mean, I think your Instagram is great and everything, and you just, you know, it's really just like a dance. I'm saying this like I know what I'm doing. I used to pursue acting, so it's like I think about that, but I mean, there's so many
Maybe
reasons
this
to do
year.
it or
Maybe
not
this
do
is
it.
the
Maybe
year
this is
where
it.
I go for it.
I mean, you haven't even been here that long, but I think you're doing great. I think there's so many possibilities ahead of you, which is exciting. And do you feel like you're sort of, you didn't look for a job in your field out here, like to do in the meantime of dance? Like, have you thought of that?
I think because I kind of got burnt out on doing like the more like government type stuff, because I'm going to be so real. I was paid the same amount project managing and like giving out like $10,000 grants and stuff as I do working at gyms here.
That is so fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm shocked about that.
It was
actually.
because I was 20 when they gave me the job. So
and they were just paying
I
you
think
really low.
I think they were just like, oh, like we can get away with this kind of thing.
That's so crazy.
I also came from Florida, and my job, like in college, I was making $12 an hour. So they're like, oh, well, and like the amount that they were paying me, like even though it still like isn't that much in the grand scheme of things, like seemed like a big pay bump to me at the time. I was like, wow, they're paying me so much. And then later realizing, oh, they're actually kind of paying me a lot less to do the same job as older people that know when they're being taken advantage of.
My last job was in HR, so I'm just like, oh, that just like all of that just irks me. But like,
and I was so stressed all the time, and I was very good at it, but I didn't love it, you know. And I kind of wanted to do something that I really actually enjoyed.
That's so inspiring. I hope that everyone that's listening is inspired by that, because I think sometimes we feel like you have to stay. Like, I have friends that feel like, well, work is just work. You're never going to like your job. And like, yes, all work is work. It's not like, oh, it's just a vacation. But at the same time, I think there's a difference between like, oh, there's an aspect of this that I enjoy that kind of fulfills me like in work versus something that I'm just doing for money. Or maybe not even for money. That's the thing. We think we're doing it for money. We're like, wait, I can actually make that money doing this. Or
exactly.
You kind of maybe just have to explore more, or maybe give up a little money for a bit of time while you're figuring things out. But then, like, it might lead you to something better.
Yeah.
So,
and like, there was that part of me when I was younger that did want to do dance. I just didn't realize that there was a way to do it that wasn't just like ballet company. And then I think I kind of shied away from going back to dance for a long time because I was like, oh, like, it's not practical, it's not X, Y, or Z, like, I'm not going to be able to make any money doing this, like, I'm not going to be as good as I used to be. And then I just kind of had to take that leap and be like, you know what, I'm going to sign up for a class. And, like, the second I did that, I was like, oh my gosh, I have missed this so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You did. It's
and
awesome
then
that you
it kind of just, like, started it going again. I started going, like, once a week and then twice a week, and then it was all I was doing in my free time kind of thing. And then it was like, hey, like if you're thinking about moving to LA, you should do it because the training there is really good. And then, you know, here we are.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm sure there's a million other questions we
were so
could
long-winded.
ask you. We were, but you know what? You're not the first that has gone kind of this long, but that was great. I loved hearing more of your story. It's so cool to know, and I'm sure everyone else appreciates it as well if they don't already know this much about you, which some of them probably do. But
some people do.
Yeah, I'm like, I know you have a lot of friends.
The lore.
But yeah, Jess, thank you. Was there anything else you like wanted to share, or any advice that? I know you've only been out here a little while, but you've been a dancer like your whole life. Is there any like advice you would give to someone? I mean, maybe just get in a class, but
yeah, that is good advice, I would say, but it's kind of like your experience where you were kind of like nervous about taking a class that you'd never taken before, and just like getting in the door is kind of the hardest part sometimes, because a lot of times once you're in there, you'll realize, oh, like I can actually do this.
yeah.
And most people aren't scary. Like, I have taken a few classes where I've been a little intimidated, but the worst that can happen is maybe you don't kill the combo, but you did challenge yourself that day and you improved in one way or another.
Oh, yeah.
So take the class if you're thinking about it.
So many times I just say, Tracy, you went. You showed up.
You did the thing.
And that is okay that you
That's
didn't
enough.
know, 3/4 of the combo. That's
Yeah.
okay.
And, like, when people come to my classes, if they are maybe not as comfortable with my style or have trouble picking up the choreo, I'm always just like, I'm never going to be mad at you for forgetting something or for not getting it perfect, because I don't do it perfect. I forget my own choreography all the time, as evidenced in my rehearsal the other day.
Well, it's so crazy that you would forget it, even though you're in 6 pieces and taking dance classes and working 55
I was just like,
hours a week.
Oh. But as long as people are like putting in the work and like trying and doing things to the best of their ability and having a good time, that's all I want.
Yeah. And it's very evident. So go take Jess's class. And yeah, thank you guys for watching and listening. And if you lasted the hour and a half, then woohoo, you made it.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
I'm so glad we got to do this. So yeah, please like, follow, subscribe, all the things, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Dance, 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 dance,